Hey everybody, and welcome to the first live stream. I am Mr. Bartus, formerly of Rochester Public Schools, now of the University of Minnesota. And the purpose of this is try to show people that the advent of code is a fun way to get involved with programming, and you do not have to be some kind of superstar. The first few days are always pretty straightforward, so I have chosen day one of last year to get started. I am gonna do it from scratch, so I did do it last year, so in theory I know how to do it, but I promise you I have not looked at it since then. I did not come up with some solutions, in advance in order to look smart. I fully plan on making some mistakes and trying to figure out why my stuff isn't working. I plan on Googling stuff. I really want to show, even someone with programming experience, does this stuff all the time. So I really hope that other people will also put themselves out there, make themselves a little vulnerable, like I'm doing tonight, because we're all beginners. No one has ever done learning, and it's just great to see how people figure stuff out. Nobody knows the answers right away, or nobody that I know can solve these in a minute or less, like some of the world champions or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna bring up the problem here and we'll get started. So I'm just going to adventofcode.com, and you can see this is what they look like every year. So this is last year's 2021. But you can go back to previous years, 2020, 2019, and so on and so on and so on. I think there's 5 or 6 years now. Maybe 2016 was the first one. Ooh, 2015. I did that one. I remember that one. 2014 not found. So it started in 2015, but I am going to do the 2021 day one. So here we go. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to think about how they would solve it, and I'll read it. I guess I'll read it out loud. You're minding your own business on a ship at sea when the overboard alarm goes off. You rush to see if you can help. Apparently one of the elves tripped and accidentally sent the sleigh keys flying into the ocean. Uh-oh. Before you know it, you're inside a submarine. The elves keep ready for situations like this. It's covered in Christmas lights, because of course it is, and it even has an experimental antenna that should be able to track the keys if you can boost its signal strength high enough. There's a little meter that indicates the antenna's signal strength by displaying 0 to 50 stars. Ooh, highlighted means... oh, that's not a link this time. Your instincts tell you that in order to save Christmas, you need to get all 50 stars by December 25th. Yeah, so these are kind of the general instructions. By doing these problems, you earn stars, and for the competition every year, the people that complete the most stars in the Minnesota and the Rochester computer clubs win prizes. And also in Rochester, of course, the high school with the total number of stars wins. So if you get 100 people to do 1 star each, of course, that is much better than getting 1 person to do 50 stars, because you're always going to win by getting more friends to do a few stars. So anyway, we collect stars by solving puzzles. 2 puzzles are available each day. But the catch is the second puzzle is only unlocked when you complete the first. So each puzzle grants 1 star. So here's the problem for today. As the submarine drops below the surface, it automatically performs a sonar sweep of the floor. On a small screen, the sonar sweep report appears. Each line is a measurement of the sea floor depth as the sweep looks further and further away from the submarine. So this is basically like looking straight down and then forward. And if you have the following report, the depth, the sonar sweep found depths of 199, 200, 208, 210, and so on, 200, 207, blah, 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 blah. So we need to figure out how quickly the depth increases, just so you know what you're dealing with. You never know if the keys will get carried into deeper water or a fish or something. So the problem says to do this, count the number of times a depth measurement increases from the previous measurement. There is no measurement before the first measurement. So basically we start at 199 and then we want to know how often the number of times, so how often a depth measurement increases. How often does it get deeper? So in this example, there are 7 measurements that are larger than previous, right? Because 200 is larger than 199, 208 is larger than 200, 210 is larger than 208. Oh, 200 is not larger than 210, so we don't count that one. All right, so to play, please identify yourself via one of these services. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and log in. That problem. So what happens is I click on this to get my puzzle input, and it gives me this big long list of numbers. Now, what's cool about what's cool about the advent of code is it doesn't matter what I use to solve this problem. I can literally use anything. I could go through this entire list and manually count how many times the number increases, and I will get the correct number, right? You don't have to do any programming at all if you don't want to in the advent of code. You could do every single problem with pencil and paper. It might take you several thousand years, but technically it's possible. So here's the cool part, right? You can use Scratch if you want. I will try, you know what? I will try to solve this problem in Scratch. How about that? You can use Python, you can use Java, you can use Excel. You know what? I'm gonna start with Excel. That's what I'm gonna do. Just to prove that you don't need to do any programming in order to get a star in the advent of code, that everybody can do this. So all I have to do per the instructions is count how many times the numbers increase in this list. So I'm going to copy this whole list of numbers, and I'm going to go into Google Sheets. I guess I could use Excel or Sheets, doesn't matter. I'm going to paste all those numbers. Did it work? Oh, it did, but the font is white. Duh. Let's change that font color. There we go. So there are our numbers. So how can I count how many times it goes up? So my idea that I'm thinking of right now is all I'm going to do is make a cell here equal to the one beside it minus the one before it. So because it went from 171 down to 154, the depth did not increase. This is a negative 17. And handily, look at Google. I was going to do this by hand. I was just going to copy this cell and paste it all the way down. But Google Sheets is already saying, hey, this is probably what you want to do because I'm so smart. I'm Google. So look at me. Ooh, this is not about you, Google. So I'm going to go ahead. That's what I was going to do. So now this is A2 minus A1. This one is A3 minus A2. This one, and so on and so on and so on. And so I know there must be a way to count the number of positive values in a column. So I'm going to go ahead and Google that. Google Sheets count number of positive values in a column. Because somebody in the world, look at that. Ooh, it's advanced because I'm so smart. Yeah, that seems ridiculous. I want to use COUNTIF, right? Let's do Google Sheets COUNTIF. That seems more likely. There we go. Oh, look at this. COUNTIF. Greater than 20. Oh my gosh, this is going to be awesome. So, COUNTIF. B2 to B. Wow, there's a lot of these. All right, let's try this again. There we go. B2000. Okay. COUNTIF B2 to B2000 is greater than 0. Boom! 1121. What are the chances that's the right answer? 1121. I am the greatest programmer alive! I already got a gold star. So, just wanted to prove the point that you do not need to, I don't know, does this count as programming? I mean, Excel is Turing complete, but I feel like that's not really programming. That's just like counting if it went up instead of down or stayed the same. So, all right, well, that's one way to do it. You know what? Tell your friends to use Excel for day number 1. If you get like 1 million friends to do it, your school will win. Okay, so that's COUNTIF. What did I say I was gonna do Scratch, right? Okay, so let's go to Scratch. I'm logged in as Mr. Bartus. Let's create. All right, so let me think about this algorithm now. So I'm gonna get a list and go through the list one item at a time. And basically, well, I'm gonna start at list item number 2 and say if this item is bigger than the previous item, add 1 to my counter. Huh? Oops. Add 1 to a counter. And then at the end of it, just print out the counter. All right, so let's go ahead and create a list. It's gonna be my input. And here I need to import my list from a file. Oh, I didn't actually create that yet. Let's do that. I'm just gonna copy this into a new file. So copy, and I'm just gonna go into like Notepad or something. Notepad++, because I love Notepad++. I'm going to paste all the numbers in so you can see them, 2,000 numbers there. And I'm gonna save it as new, where does that live? My downloads folder, perfect. Import New one.text. Look at this. Which column should be used? Number 1. That doesn't seem right. What's wrong with this? Oh, oops. I messed something up here. Let's try that again. Oh, 171. Okay. That file had stuff in it before. 171. All right. Well, I can just fix this myself. That was see? Even the greatest programmer alive sometimes makes mistakes. I know it's hard to believe. All right, so if you missed that, all I did was I created a list down here. I clicked on make a list, and then in the input here, all I did was I right-clicked on it, and I imported it. And I imported from a file. And it just puts all those numbers into the list for me. So when I do that, what are we going to do here? I need a variable called like a counter, so I'm going to call it number of ooh, I'm shouting. Sorry, I was shouting. Number of increases. I'm going to set that to 0. Right, and then I'm going to need an iterator to like go through. I'm trying to think if I could just go through the list. I don't think I can do that with Scratch, right? Like, because if I just use like a repeat, then I won't know where I am. So I think I need to have like a variable. I'm going to make a variable called, I don't know, iterator. And all iterator means is I'm iterating over something. So I'm like going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to set. Now remember, I'm setting this to 2 because I want to compare against the thing that went before. If I set the iterator to 1 and I try to compare to the previous input, there's no input 0. So Scratch will get really confused. I don't know what it would do. We'll try that at the end because I like trying things that break things. Okay, so set the iterator to 2, and then we got to repeat until the iterator is greater than 2000. Okay, so we need a greater than. Where's them operators? Greater than until. Right, because when we get to 2001, we don't want to do it anymore. We want to stop at 2000. So when the iterator, great. Repeat until the iterator gets. If the list item at the current iterator is bigger than the list item at the iterator -1, then we have to add 1 to the number of increases, right? So if the list at iterator 2 is bigger than the list item at iterator 1, iterator value 1, then that means it increased. So we add 1 to the number of increases. All right, so greater than list item. If item at iterator of input is greater than item at iterator -1. Oh, where did you go? Iterator -1 of input. So if the item 2 is greater than item 1, then we need to increase Operators, no, that's not it. Change the number of increases by 1. And then the last thing we want to do is change the iterator by 1. So once we do all this, if 2 is greater than 1, then we increase it. And if it's not greater, then we don't do anything. But regardless, we always have to like go to the next value. So once we're done with 2, we go to 3, then to 4, then to 5, then to 6, then to so on. And the very last thing we do is we say the number of increases. You know what? I want to play a sound because sound makes everything better. But I want ta-da. What? What? This is impossible. Here we go. Add a new sound. There's got to be a ta-da sound, right? There it is. All right, that's what we're doing. Play sound, ta-da. Whoops. Yeah, ta-da. And say the number of increases. All right, let's do this. 1121 again. Look at that. In Scratch. In Scratch. All right, well, now that we know how to do it, doing it in other languages is pretty easy. I really like VS Code. VS Code is kind of my go-to. One of the nice things about it, of course, is all the plugins that you have. So you can color your Python, Java, JavaScript, Arnold C, whatever you want, and integrate it with GitHub and share it with friends, do multiplayer so you can have multiple people coding at the same time, blah, blah, blah. But Replit is really easy to use because I'm already in a browser, and you know, that way you guys can check it out if you want. AoC 2021 day 1. Owner is me. Create Replit. All right. Yeah, I don't need the introduction. Okay, so it's been a while since I did this. But you know what? I'm going to be straight up honest, and I'm going to do it like I know nothing. So the first thing I need to do is create a file, right? I'm going to call it, oh no, I don't want a new tab. I want a new file. Upload file. Ooh, upload file. There we go. New one.txt. That's exactly what I want to do. There are all my numbers. So now I have to read these numbers into a list, and I don't remember how to do that. So I'm going to Google it. Read file into list in Python. Man, yeah, okay, here we go. That's not how I would do it. That's not how I would do it. No. That's not how I would do it at all, actually. Let's try Geeks for Geeks. Well, I'm not gonna worry about having perfect code. This is not about perfect code. This is about getting it done. So file 1.txt? No, mine is called new 1.txt. It's going to open the file as a read only. That's what that R means. It's going to read it into this data object and then data into list. Oh, this is kind of ugly, but okay. All right, you know what? I can't do this. I'm sorry. I'm going to look at how I did it for real, for real. I don't remember which account I did it in. I don't have my security on me. Dang it. All right. You know what? That would be cheating. I think that is the programming god telling me that would be cheating. This will work. Go with it. We're pretending that we are not judging my code, right? Nobody here is judging my code. So, all right, let's see what happens when we run it anyway. Let's hope it works. Replit here is just installing some libraries. There we go. All right. This is not a list. That is one giant string. All right, debugging, here we go. All right, so I'm going to print data. Let's make sure we have this. You know what? Just going to comment that out for now. Print data. You know what? What? Oh, that was somebody else. Okay. For data, all right, let's try that. Ooh, so we do have a lot of new lines here. Okay. What is it to get rid of a new line in a Python string? Isn't it strip? Something like that. Strip. Hey, look at that. I do remember some things. Input dot strip. Let's try that. Look at that. And you know what else we need to do? We need to make them integers. So, because right now they're strings and we don't. Whoa. That's weird. There shouldn't be any blank lines. Where's there a blank line? Oh, right there. Oh, wait. What happened? Oh, I did every character. Isn't there a read lines in Python? Yes, there is. Look at that. It's already, like, why would somebody... Oh, my gosh. This is terrible. All right. I don't even need to do any of this. Dot read Read lines. So that's already, oh, that might just actually, yeah, that just worked. Okay, so read lines just reads it into a list. And then for this, I just need to convert them to integers. And boom. All right. Wow, that was a lot of effort. But you know what? I hope that the people that are not super awesome coders feel a little better about themselves right now, because I haven't even, all I did was read in the data now. But here's the cool thing. I can use this. I mean, I can a lot of the advent of code problems involve reading in a list of numbers or strings or something. So you can copy and paste this probably like 20 times. So save your files, put them in GitHub, so you don't have to do what I just did a million times, which is, you know, it is what it is. Cool. I'm happy that I got it to work. So now all I got to do is say for I in range from, no, I got to start at 1 in Python to the length of the input list, increase counter equals 0 if input list at I is bigger than input list at I minus 1, then increase counter increases by 1. And then I just print increase counter. 1 1 2 1. Look at that. I don't know if I should say I'm the greatest programmer alive after that input debacle, but debacle. 1 1 2 1. I got the same answer at least. So I've solved the first star 3 different ways. It's only 8:30. Let's do the second half of the puzzle. I guess I should ask, do we have any questions from the audience? Ooh, look, we have a bunch of people. Anybody have any questions about my awesome Scratch programming skills or Excel or not Python? No? No questions? Is there any questions in the chat? You can chat. I like how Replit hates the new logo. Okay, cool. All right, well, if there are no comments or questions, then we'll go on to part 2. Where's part 2? Oh my God, what is this? Oh man. Part 2. I got them. Considering every single measurement isn't as useful as you expected, there's just too much noise in the data. Instead, consider the sums of a 3 measurement sliding window. Oh my God. It's like, it's too late for this. Again, considering the, start by comparing the first and the second 3 measurement windows. 199. Oh, I see how this is going. All right. Sorry, just had to mute somebody there. Your goal is now to count the number of times the sum. Oh, this isn't as bad as I thought. This isn't as bad as, so all we're doing is like we're adding up the first 3 numbers and then comparing it to the second 3 numbers, where like the first 3 numbers are 199, 2, and 208. The second is 200, 208, 210. I feel like there would be a mathy way to do this. I bet somebody did this really mathy, but I'm going to do this the obvious way because why not? So like I said, save your programs. Do not just like overwrite overwrite your program. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to rename this. Rename this. How do I rename? Rename. Come on, buddy. Rename. This is AoC 2021 day 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it. Oops. And I'm going to call it part, ooh, I can spell, part 2, right? And this one is part 1, right? So you should do this. If you're doing the AoC, always save all your code. Trust me. Even if you like start over, like you get really lost on one day, just save that code and start fresh with a brand new file, but save the old one. You never know when you're going to need it later on. Okay, so this should still work for... oh, gosh. This is an annoying thing about REPL. You have to have a main.py. All right. Instead of figuring out how to like change it, I'm just going to rename this to main.py. Because I'm just like lazy like that. Okay, but now what I need to do is I'm going to start with not the first one, but, or not number 1, but number 2. So I'm going to sum up 0, 1, and 2 together, and then 1, 2, and 3, and then I could do this in Scratch too. I'll just do it here. If you can do it in here, you can do it in Scratch. It's exactly the same logic. You know, you read in the things, so whatever. So if input list I, right, plus input list I minus 1 plus, oh, so I actually have to start at 3 because I'm comparing the sum of items 1, 2, and 3 with the sum of items 0, 1, and 2. So if the sum of 3, 2, and 1 is bigger than the sum of, I'm just going to cheat here. That's minus 2 and minus 3. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to do. 1065. Let's see if that is in fact the answer. Woohoo! Look at this. I have 2 gold stars. I am the greatest programmer alive. So let's go ahead and do it in Scratch. No, let's not. That, like, it's too much copying and pasting. But it would be the same, right? Instead of starting the iterator to 2, I would start with 4, actually. Because Scratch doesn't start with 0, which is ridiculous when you're teaching people how to program. So I would need to compare the sum of item 4, 3, and 2 with the sum of item 3, 2, and 1, and just run it, and it would give me the same answer. That's it. That's 2 stars. That's 2 stars. Why? Okay. That's it. I think that's the show. I didn't go for a full hour, but that's okay because nobody's going to watch 40 minutes of me talking anyway. Are there any questions about the algorithm, about the competition, about how I got to be so good looking? It was shaving the head that really put it over the top, I think. No? No questions? Let me open the chat here. Can you guys even talk? I might have turned off talking. The chat's up here. You can talk. Awesome. But nobody wants to. That's okay. That's okay. Ooh. Do you have any suggestions for how to make this better for next time? Since I don't think anybody signed up for Saturday, so I might be doing this again. But I'm trying to get cool people. You had no idea this existed. You had no idea what existed. The voice channel. Oh. Yeah, no, it's a new thing. Yeah, the chat in the voice channels, that's a new thing. That is a new thing on Discord. Aw, thanks, Matt. Don't forget to smash that like button. No, that's exactly what this is for. Like, I'm really hoping that we'll get lots of other people to do some solutions. You know, easy ones, hard ones, whatever works, because I will learn as much as everybody else from this. So I love live coding as a teaching tool and a learning tool. I think it's so awesome. And yes, it takes some courage. Yeah, I'm going to, I've recorded this, or I am in the process of recording it, and I will post it, I guess, on my YouTube channel. Yeah. Also, I mean, you could literally do it by hand. Like, you could literally print out those numbers. Somebody did that last year. I remember somebody telling me that they didn't know how to program, and they literally just printed out the numbers, 2,000 numbers, and went through it by hand and just like counted how many times it went up, and they got a star for their school. I know, right? But yeah. I mean, you can see, and you can also see like how this would work in Java too, right? Like, it would be exactly the same algorithm. You just read in the file and go through it one at a time. So, and one thing to know about the advent of code is it's not linear. Like, it's kind of linear. So the first day is almost always the easiest day, but the 25th is not always the hardest day, right? So it increases in difficulty, and then it decreases, and then so even if you're not, you know, a super programmer, you should check them out because they're fun. And then of course there is the Discord channel, or not Discord, the Reddit subreddit, where people post crazy solutions. Somebody did it on an oscilloscope once. People are crazy. I want to show off one of my solutions, actually, since we have the time. I want to show off one of my solutions. I'm pretty sure it's in my account here. I'm just going to call this AoC 2021 day 1 part 1. Here, I'll share it with all y'all. The project is now shared. So here's the link. When something is linear, you mean like an algorithm? Generally, that means like when you add more items, the algorithm goes up in a linear way. So if you have 100 things to sort, and it takes 10 seconds, then if you make 200 items, then it will sort it in 20 seconds. And 300 items would be in 30 seconds. So it doesn't matter how many you add, it goes up linearly. There are lots of different algorithms out there that do different things. So like there are ones that are, you know, if you add twice as many things, it squares the time it takes to do it, right? And things like that, and all these different things in between. So you can imagine, like, imagine you had to, I don't know. Sorting is actually a good example, right? If you have to sort 10 cards, right? It takes you longer to sort 20 cards than 10 cards by a lot, not by twice as much. But anyway, I don't want to get into that right now. But yes, take algorithms and data structures, and we'll talk all about that. Lots of different measurements on how algorithms work. So AoC, I wonder if I can search in here. Sort by A to Z. 2020. Here we go. AoC day 12. Part 1. So this is a cool one. Let's see if this is from last year. Nope, that's VS Code. Day 12. I don't think this is, this might be 2020, day 12. Yeah, here it is. So this is 2020, day 12. You can see here, you have directions for a ship to sail or a ferry to go. And so you can do it in text, but I wanted to do it in Scratch because I wanted to, so this is all my Scratch code. It reads in all the items and everything. And then here, I'll run it and you can see it figures out, like, there's my ship sailing around following these directions, because I just thought it was cool to like have Scratch draw. The answer is still just going to be a number, but you can, you know, I don't know, it's fun to visualize. Okay, I'm a nerd. You don't have to say it out loud. And then part 2 of that same day was a little trickier, but same idea. You have to hit waypoints and go to positions, and the ship goes all over the place. So anyway, like I said, you can solve these problems in Scratch for the most part. Some of them require last year's day 13. Okay. 2021 day 13. 2021 day 13. Ooh, that would be cool. Ooh, look at that. Okay. I'll put it on my to-do list. All right, folks. Yeah. Oh, what is my ID of choice? Visual Studio Code, VS Code. I wonder if I can change what I'm streaming. Stream. Change windows. I could just do my whole screen here, maybe. Sure. What? Oh, man, that's cool. All right, so VS Code is here. And it's super awesome. I love it. It has every possible language you could think of. Select the language. Has GitHub integration, debugging built in, terminal built in. So many plugins. So many plugins that extensions they're called here that, you know, work for a million different things. Yeah, highly, highly, highly recommend VS Code. Man, that's cool. All right, so we're about at the end. Anyone have any suggestions for next time in terms of how to make this better, how to be funnier? I know looks aren't everything, but I try. I need, oh, that's what I need. I need a sound maker that goes every time I make a joke. Okay, put that on my to-do list. A jester. Man, that's a harsh way of saying I'm not funny, man. Somebody is typing. All right, well, in the meantime, if you have any further suggestions, please send me an email. I'll put my email here in the chat. And, or obviously just hit me up on Discord. That would be easier. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do this on Zoom next time or do this again. I guess we'll see how the video turns out. Yeah, send your suggestions for problems my way. Again, I want to kind of tend towards the easier side, just because the goal of these videos is to, you know, hopefully inspire some newer programmers to give this a shot and to see that, you know, everybody makes mistakes. Nobody remembers the first time in a year how to open a file in Python, because that's just not how things work anymore. Everybody uses Google. Everybody debugs. And we should support each other in doing that. All right. This has been super fun. And I will see you on Saturday night. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thanks, everybody.